A positive Bob Nutting ski resorts got killed this year. Pirates will trade everyone. I'll get to that. Hey, Jeff, Bob Nutting ski resorts got killed this year. Yeah, I need. I was hoping you were saying Bob Nutting had been killed at a ski resort today. That was the one. I don't have my glasses on, so I saw Bob Nutting and then ski resort and the word killed, and I was hoping that was. But the news can't be that good. Robert Nutting is still with us, and he still owns the Pirates. It's very disappointing. It's very disappointing, but not unusual to go into a season devoid of hope if you're a fan of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Last night, the Knowles bullpen decided, yeah, this would have been a good win, guys. This would have been a nice night for us, for a team that is in need of a nice night. The bullpen, no, but alas, couldn't get outs. And Florida State falls to a better baseball team, Florida. Hurts, but sometimes, it's the easiest thing in the world to see and admit. I'll tell you something. So I was at football practice yesterday, and we did on Warchant TV, Ira and myself, a synopsis afterwards, which you can go and find now. And I'll talk about all of that good stuff in just a second. But because I was at football practice yesterday, I was in Dick Howser Stadium for warm-ups between Florida State and Florida before that game, and I watched batting practice for the two teams. And a couple things really stand out. And this has actually been going on for a little while. It's funny. I relay it this way. So Ira, as you guys know, way back in the day, covered the University of Florida. And he remembers, he told me a story one time that in the 90s, in the early 90s, this particular Florida team that he was covering, Steve Spurrier was the coach, was pretty good, but they came up here to Tallahassee. And as you guys all know, Steve Spurrier never beat Florida State in Tallahassee, never defeated Florida State at Doak Campbell Stadium, not one time. It's got to eat at him. For a guy that competitive, I bet you when he's on the treadmill, it's something that crosses his mind to this very day. So he never won up here, but he brought a good team up here a few times, as we well know. And there's a famous tie involved as well. But Ira said when he came to cover that game, you remember being on the field and looking at Florida State that particular year and thinking to himself, Jesus, Florida State is a lot bigger than Florida. Like, this ain't going to go well. And I had the same experience many, many years later, not all that long ago, in fact, in Norman, Oklahoma, when Florida State was rising to prominence, and Jimbo thought they were a little further along than they were, to the point where he was almost, not quite predicting an upset win. But you could tell he was confident that Florida State would go on the road and acquit themselves quite nicely. And so I went to Norman, Oklahoma for that game, and that's a matchup that I love. You guys who are longtime listeners of the show know why. Got family from Oklahoma. And so anyhow, it was a chance to go to the old family farm and see stuff that I hadn't seen in a long, long time. And we get to the game in Norman, and the folks at Oklahoma were really generous hosts until the game kicked off. But down on the field before the game, well, that's where I traversed. And I took in on the hoof, as they say, the two teams, and I went, oh, this ain't good. This ain't good. And I came back to my seat and reported to my father, we're in trouble. we're in trouble. Those are some big boys on the other side, and they have more of them. We don't have guys that look like that. And typically bigger, stronger, faster in football. Yeah, that plays. So I can still remember that. So that's how that went. And then here we were last night. And I'm standing next to Corey Clark. And Corey looks like Florida State. and I look like Florida in this analogy. I say that lovingly. Florida's big, man. Like a lot bigger than we are. And they have been for a long time. And it's upsetting. I'm tired of it. I mean, it's pre-link. It's just when you go there, you look at it, you're like, what is going on? Why are Florida players, I mean, watching batting practice, it's easy power. It's light tower power for days. Every one of those guys hitting just kind of oppo above the light stanchion. I'm like, what the hell? I saw a right-hander ring 3 off the tent without even really, I mean, I just thought to myself, what are we doing here? We got to get some bigger dudes out here, man. It's not everything. There are little guys that do really well in baseball. That's fine. That's great. You don't need a team full of them. We could, it'd help to have a first baseman that's 6'5". It'd help. I mean, we got to get a little bit bigger and stronger. That's all I'm saying. We've got some kids that I love, and this Florida State program is going to be fine. I think they get the right guy. I think this is going to be a trying year. You're going to see glimpses here and there of the good things to come. Right now, you see a dearth of arms. They don't have enough arms. Florida's got a lot of them. So that's a quicker way to close the gap would be to have more power arms, all right? But I would also like to see us find a bigger, stronger athlete. And we did. A couple of the young guys. Obviously, all you got to do is look down there at third base. You got a hoss. You got some guys, but they got to get stronger and bigger, man. Florida is littered with big dudes. The kid who's got the 14 home runs or whatever he has already this year is 6'5", 240. You ain't seen a lot of 6'5", 240 out there for Florida State. We got a guy. So it's frustrating because they have that game up 5-1. They got a good start. You felt like, all right, defensively they played okay, but you just don't have enough in the way of pitching. So it's a little frustrating. But I'm not going to freak out. I will tell you this weekend against Virginia's good, really good. And this could continue a stretch of baseball that hurts. They're on a run right now that is, obviously it hasn't been fruitful. It's not littered with wins and bright spots. These are lessons being learned. But the one thing to take away from this week so far, and it had the game on Tuesday, they're getting healthier. You're starting to see guys come back into that lineup that are very important. A, it extends the lineup. B, you can put people back in their more natural positions, or at the very least keep them from having to play in positions that they're not comfortable. And I think that will eventually help this team. Now, remember, when guys go down and they go down for injury, baseball is a game, this as a pitcher or a hitter. Baseball is a game of timing. And it's hard to miss all those ABs and then get inserted back into the lineup and be ready to go. You can struggle, and you watch guys fight through that. That's one of the things about spring training. When you watch spring training, and I'm a baseball fanatic, so I'm watching spring training all the time. I'll throw up even condensed versions of the spring training games. Just A, I like it, but B, I want to see who's getting opportunities from the farm system and all of that. Well, those early games are pretty dreadful a lot of times. Guys just don't look like they've ever swung a bat. But by the end of spring training, you see your more seasoned players. They've got their timing, and they wait on the ball to get deep in the zone, and you start to see that. And you watch pitchers too, amp up their velocity and all that. So you got guys coming back from injury. That's good news. Maybe a minute before they round into form. All right, so let's go with football. And if you have questions, feel free, fire away. I'll give you my observations. I'll tell you what, I'm going to continue. We could start every day if we wanted to with the offensive and defensive line. You just could. And that, first and foremost, ought not get overlooked. That ought to be something that you celebrate every time I say it, even if you're sick of me saying it. If every time you jump in your car, turn on your computer, however it is, you take in this program, YouTube, whatever it might be. And you say, damn it, again, Cameron? You and the offensive and defensive lines. Yes, yes, yes. You should want to hear that in perpetuity. You ought to think to yourself, Cameron's been talking about how kick-ass our offensive line is for 10 years. That should be a dream. You should aspire to that. I'm tired of this. Every day with the offensive line talk. It's May 7th, Jeff. Jesus. That's what you should be doing. But I'm saying, that's what we do. When we go out there, whether it's Warchant or anybody else, when we go out there, we're like, look at that big son of a bitch. Look at that guy. He's huge. And he can move. And there's another guy. Look at that guy. He, too, is huge. Got good feet, good knee bend, good technique. That guy's even bigger. Look at him. We do it all the time. I can't stop doing it. I get excited every time. I'm like, look at that. And then you guys know me. I've told you the key to good offensive and defensive line play. Your ass. And there are butt cheeks all over the place, giant ones. So that's a great sign. We should all celebrate sizable butt cheeks that litter the offensive and defensive line. I could begin there every day because every time we go out there, it is very, very impressive. And yesterday was no different. After practice, we had a chance to talk to Mr. Farmer, who's big dude, real big dude, and is fun to talk to. You can tell he's coming into his own. He had a lot of great things to say about that segment group, the defensive line, in particular, the interior of the defensive line. One of the reasons is, again, he was former teammates with Darryl Jackson. And it's interesting, you kind of look and you watch them play, you watch them rotate, and you can sense that they're very much, there's an understanding of the competition, but also this thread between them that is, bottom line is this, they're rooting for each other. And it's not always necessary. I'm not trying to make it sound like everybody has to love each other on a baseball or football or basketball team. It helps. It's nice. You'd prefer it. But it is certainly a breath of fresh air when you watch it. And I think it probably makes it easier to go to work. We know that from our own lives, right? When you go to the office, if you like the people you work with, it helps. It helps. So those guys encourage the heck out of each other. They do a really good job of encouraging, teaching, like the veteran players, teaching the younger players. That continuity is there. And I just think they have such a depth of talent at that position now that it's gonna change things for this Florida State team. What they can do in terms of the looks up front, but also how hard they can play during those reps. Fabian is not going to be asked to play 50 reps. He's going to be out there for 30. And Darryl Jackson is a game changer. He is quite literally a game changer. By the way, he's the most impressive defensive lineman out there. He's better than Fabo. He's better than all those guys. He's a beast. And listening to Farmer talk about those guys, in particular, talk about Jackson, he said, I knew he was always going to be a problem for people because when I got to know him, again, they played together in high school. He was 6'3", 198. He was tiny for a defensive lineman. And he was already a bully, this is his words, not mine, to offensive linemen when he weighed 200 pounds. He's like, what is he now? 6'3", 27? And he still has that mentality and that strength. And so when you watch it, he's not kidding. It's, whoo, that's a hoss. That's a handful. That's a load. There's just not a lot you can do with him. Florida State has to hope that they get the good news regarding his eligibility. The sooner the better, because every practice I go to that I watch that guy play, the more I think that the difference between being good or maybe great on defense is that dude. Like if he's not eligible, and there's no indicators that he won't be, and they feel very good that he's going to be. But if he's not in your rotation, you're a different defense. That's how good he is. Like you would, there's some guys that if you take out of the rotation, you go, all right, well, I prefer to have him. We're better with him, but he's not a game changer. He's not going to dominate the game. They don't have to account for him with double teams and the like, right? They're just guys that are just dudes. They're just jags, as they say, right? Just another guy. Even if they're slightly plus, even if they're quality depth, they're not changing the game. That dude's changing the game. Changing the game. So it's fun to watch that. But I want to go to the tight end room. I want to go back there because we all celebrated the pickups of Kyle Morlock and Jaheim Bell. And we knew from the tape that we saw of Jaheim Bell, like what kind of player he was. He was versatile, right? You saw the kind of athlete that he is. Watching him, it's almost a foregone conclusion that he's an integral part of the offense. You just watch that. You're like, okay, well, they've already worked him into the fold in a way that they're going to use him in a lot of different ways. But Kyle Morlock yesterday stole the show, guys. He is bigger. Now, I knew he was tall, but he's bigger than we thought he was. I think, just looking at him at shorter, maybe it's because it's a small school and you thought, well, he went there. He must not have been the requisite size yet, or I don't know, how hadn't he been discovered is kind of the way you're looking at it. So I maybe had some preconceived notions that I shouldn't have had about who he was going to be. But what he is a really tall, thick athlete. He runs very well, changes directions very well, has good hips, gets in and out of his breaks, has good hands, and can really move at that size. They're pretty well loaded. We asked Mike Norvell about it after practice yesterday, and Mike is very purposeful in the way that he speaks. He thinks about what he's saying. He catches himself constantly. I think he's crafting a message to his players and also to the fans a lot of times. He is, and I'm not saying it's a manipulation. I'm saying he's just very careful. He wants to choose his words and in a way that applies specific to either a player, a segment group, maybe to the fan base, whatever it might be. And he got asked the question, and every now and then he'll break character, if you will, when you can tell that he's genuinely pumped about something he's got. Like, it's like you're trying to stay even keel because you got a long way to go. They haven't played a game yet with this group. And, but you can tell he's envisioned all kinds of things for this group and the possibilities, the problems that those guys are going to present to opposing defenses. And so I'm watching this yesterday, and those guys are lighting it up. The tight ends are having the best day. And you're looking at him, and you're going, geez, Louise, look at this kid. I think he's better than they thought he was going to be. And Biscuit continues to get better. And you know how big that dude is. And he's a whole different problem for defenses. So I'm watching it, and I'm thinking, this is so good. So he gets asked the question after practice. Mike Norvell does. I think Ira asked the question, in fact. And Mike just ear-to-ear grin, just a smile. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's And then he caught himself because he did not want to besmirch the previous tight ends that have come through here. Like, he got giddy, but then he realized it's kind of a way of saying our previous tight ends sucked. And they did. So he's like, oh, yeah, no, the possibilities of that room are, it's, now we liked our other tight ends. We did. That's the classic, no offense, but, ... Yeah, this gives us a greater depth, and I was waiting for it. I'm like, come on, just say it. And he finally said, and, some more athleticism. Oh, there it is. They're not just another body. They're a matchup problem, and offensive minds are always trying to isolate matchups. That's all you do as an OC. You're just trying to exploit areas in which you have a physical mismatch, where you have an advantage. And he knows this year, knock on wood, that group gives him a distinct advantage. Those are matchup problems, and it's not just a guy in the segment group, it's three of them. And we'll see if anybody else emerges. I don't want to ignore Jarrell Powers or anybody else for that matter. But I think when you see it, you realize, like, how giddy he is. And I think he feels the same way about the running back room. And I think, obviously he's got eyes. He knows what that defensive line is. He knows what this offensive line is. It's going to be a tough summer, guys. I am very seasonal. I love the sports to play out as they do, where they are. I've been on this earth for 51 years, and I've loved sports for about 45 of those. And so you get really used to the seasons. NFL, college football, the NBA, Major League Baseball, whatever it is, right? And you just kind of fall into a rhythm. Oh, now it's time for this. Now it's time for this. Now it's time for this. I say that to say this. I very rarely sit around and long for any one sport, even if I like it more, to be here sooner than it needs to be here, right? It's like when winter comes around, I'm ready for winter. By the time winter's over, I'm ready for it to be a little bit warmer. God knows when the summer is dying down, I begin to celebrate because I get tired of 100. But this offseason, man, for football, for college football, for Florida State, we're going to need distractions. We might have to just do a bunch of charitable events. Let's just be doing something all the time. You got to give me something to look forward to. Like, I buy concert tickets constantly because I want to put it on the calendar. Hey, we're going to see so-and-so. Hey, we're going to see so-and-so at this venue. Hey, we're going to fly over here and see so, because I just want something on the calendar to look forward to. It gets you through. Like, I've got to find something that is going to distract me from how much I desperately want to watch the way they utilize the talent they have on this football team. They got a lot of it. It was a good day for the defense yesterday. I'm just now kind of scratching the surface of the talking points from yesterday's practice. They had another one tomorrow, and then they have a scrimmage this weekend. Really wish we could watch the scrimmage. But that said, Mike is very transparent and usually pretty straightforward with us. So I have a sense that we'll get a good idea of how they play. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, and Warchant TV. My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse?
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinking. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Injured? Call Basic Brooks Law Offices, 777-7777.
This is Ken Wondergem, owner of Gem Mazda of Tallahassee, serving North Florida and South Georgia for over 20 years. And I'm happy to announce that things are finally back to normal at Gem Mazda. Our lot is loaded with brand new Mazdas for the first time in 2 years. So if you've been waiting for the price and selection of new cars to return to normal, the wait is over at Gem Mazda, where we've always provided our customers with the highest quality of service and care. You know Mazda's reputation for efficient, dependable, and affordable vehicles, but you simply must experience the luxurious new lineup of 2023 Mazdas in stock now at Gem Mazda of Tallahassee. Get adventurous and connect with nature in a brand new 23 Mazda CX-50 with all-wheel drive. But hurry in while the value of your trade is still high. At Gem Mazda, we take our slogan seriously. No games, no gimmicks, just a gem of a deal. Gem Mazda of Tallahassee, Capitol Circle Northwest, just up from West Tennessee Street, and always open at gemmazda.com.
Let's take a minute to imagine all the things you can accomplish with help from Southeast Portable Buildings. Are you a hoarder? Hoard some more. Get a storage shed. Mother-in-law moving in with you? Put her in a shed out back. I'm kidding. Still working on that engine that you're going to finish from last summer? Move it out to a new workspace with Southeast Portable Buildings. From she sheds and man caves to repair shops and trophy rooms, the possibilities are only limited to your imagination. Visit Southeast Portable Buildings today.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF in the future.
Choose Hearth and Patio for custom fireplaces, maintenance, outdoor grills, kitchens, fire pits, lighting, and so much more. Check out all of Hearth and Patio's options online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, they keep the home fires burning.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Here. Not everybody got to hear that. Jacob, you should be fired up, man. Garrett wants to know the red zone lineup with the new talent. I don't know, but they got options. They can play big too, man. That's the other thing. They can go heavy.
It's a beefy one.
It's a beefy one.
Maybe that's the answer. It's beefy.
Well, are we in short yardage situation where the field's been shortened and the goal line is obviously, or the end line is acting as an extra defender? Then, you got to be able to get 2 yards here. Well, you can go unbalanced. You can go. I mean, you got size all over the place. You ought to be able to get a couple yards. Couldn't last year. So your options were very limited. You had to finesse your way into the end zone. That's always annoying because football is not a game of finesse.
That will be a detail that we are not allowed to discuss. Whatever they want to do in goal line. Whatever they show us all during the spring game, we get to discuss. Otherwise, just think about some of the wrinkles that they've broken out for goal line because they have to trick their way historically here under Mike Norvell to get into the end zone. But it's usually weird. Now, there were some moments last year where we had standard goal line sets and DJ Lundy scored several touchdowns in those situations. But one would think you can just run a standard set and it doesn't have to be a fullback dive because it's a gadget. You could just run straight up the gut.
Yeah, that's going to be so fun. I am excited about the options, even if I can't expound specifically on what it is they're doing. Just knowing that they have them. And, it'll be fun. Jeff, do you think All Day Dre could be an answer at punt returns? I know, freshman, but he jumps off the screen. He does, man. He does. It's good you bring him up. Vandravius Jacobs is one of the freshmen, since we're having the conversation, that I wouldn't count out playing significant. Just my opinion. Nothing's been said of this, but, I mean, you watch him, the game comes really natural to him. He's not swimming. It's not too fast. He makes plays all the time, even against veterans. He just may have it. So I don't know if he's an option, by the way. Yesterday, Mike Norvell was asked specifically, and he did allude to him, but he was asked specifically about what they're going to do with Micah Pittman out and how it affects punt returns.
He loved that question.
Yeah, well, and I was going to ask it if Ira hadn't, so I'm glad Ira bit the bullet because I was going to specifically say, well, he brought up Micah Pittman. Micah posted on his blog that he's out 4 to 6 months. So it's fair game, and at that point,
Yeah, you're mad at Micah, not us.
yeah. So at that point, another reporter asked the question, Micah's announced that he's out 4 to 6 months, coach. How does that affect the receivers? Well, I didn't care about the receivers because I already know they got a lot of them. And I hate the toughness that we lose with him out for now, but I wasn't worried about the athleticism or the depth of the receiver room. As soon as that question came up, I thought, well, very specifically, it affects the punt returns because he was good at least catching the damn ball. He got to most of them. He's not an elite returner. Don't get me wrong, but God, we've been in the sewers with our return game. It's just in the gutter. It's been awful. So anybody that catches the damn ball fairly consistently is of great value to you all of a sudden. He's an asset. So I wondered what he would say there, and he really didn't give an answer. He just, we're going to rotate a lot of guys. We're going to try a bunch of different people.
I think, judging by some of the things that previous coaches have said, I don't know that Mike Norvell believes this because philosophies can change from staff to staff.
Yeah, they usually do.
But working in special teams sometimes can affect your work on the team side of the operation. I know Jimbo has said that before about Rashad Green. Remember, he had fumbleitis issues.
He was terrible at it. I don't know why they put him back there.
Tyler Hunter had an issue with it as well.
Sucked.
Yep. There was another defensive back, but there was a third guy in that realm where Jimbo would say often that, well, sometimes if you don't have confidence in special teams,
yeah,
it might bleed over and you might second guess yourself whether that's in a coverage or breaking off in a route, something like that. So with a freshman, might you want him to just focus more on the craft of being a receiver at the Power 5 level? And if he's going to crack the 2 deep, I agree with you that he's got a shot.
He does.
Put out a video this weekend with the freshman that stood out through 1 week of camp. And to me, Dre Jacobs was that guy. It's just, I think it was Ira, when you guys were talking, made the point that if you're not the largest and the strongest guy in high school,
you got to be better at all the other things.
You're more prepared for this because this is not the first you've seen of somebody who's taller and a longer athlete than you are. Whereas Hakeem, for the first time in his life, is saying, oh my God, these guys can keep up with me. They're faster than me. They're quicker than me. Dre is already prepared for that type of thought process.
Yeah, and Vendravius is 6 feet tall, $180, whatever he is. I mean, he's not tiny, but you're right. He's not a bigger receiver, but he is polished, and he makes catches in traffic. That's one of the things that stands out to me early on. He makes a lot of catches in traffic. He knows how to time his jump right. He's got a really good level of athleticism to him, which makes sense. But yeah,
there's a knack for the spacing. I go back to a basketball example. I remember seeing a game in December of this kid's first year of real exposure. It was Devin Vassell, and you could just see that he understood the spacing. He understood how much time he needed, how much space he needed to generate to get to an open place or to make a pass. There's just a great knack, and that's a total intangible. When you see it, it looks so easy. Another analogy, a defenseman in hockey, they don't panic. They realize they have an extra tick to play with. Vendravius Jacobs seems to have whatever that thing is for football, which is the knack for the space.
Devin Vassell now has a lot of time to think about how bad the team is that he's on. My God, San Antonio. I'm not going to deviate too far from this, but they're terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
When he was brought on and brought into that organization,
you were like, oh, what a good thing.
This is the Zen Master.
Oh.
It's the Zen Master lesson. We'll see.
He's
we'll
presiding over a whole different Zen of suck. They are awful. That is something to behold. Like when you look at all the advanced numbers in the NBA, when the per 100 possession stuff, they're putrid across the board. I think he's got to be like, what in the hell?
I went to the Spurs.
I went to the Spurs. This is like, we're supposed to be guarded against these kinds of seasons. Like, no, you and the Pistons both are horrible. Unwatchable. All right. Finally saw something from Fentrell Cypress yesterday. He hadn't done anything up until now.
You were getting pissed, apparently.
Oh, I'm tired of it. I was like, this guy's supposed to be a savior. He hadn't made a play yet.
2 days of pajama football, and you were tired of it.
I'm done with it. Make a play. But he made several yesterday. I was like, oh, there it is. That looks right. Okay.
Never doubted you for a second.
There you go, young man. That's the kid I saw for Virginia. There you go. You know who was bad yesterday, and I know Mike gets mad. He probably doesn't like it if I do this.
Oh,
but Mike's all right. He knows.
I'm going to get a call.
Nah. Tate sucked yesterday. He wasn't any good at all yesterday. It was, I mean, you read about pick sixes, and sometimes you're like, ooh, a couple of those are just like, well, you better pick that off. My God, what was that?
Yeah, I heard the Kirkland one was yeah.
Like, what are you doing? There were some shaky moments. I'm not. Listen, he's been fine in camp. Tate makes throws. Tate made a throw yesterday that was the best throw of the day.
Yeah, he did on Friday.
You
That
know-
first full day of pads, we go, oh my God.
Yeah, he routinely will make a throw once a practice where you're like, well, that's best throw of the day. Out of all the quarterbacks, that's the one. But he also makes throws like you saw yesterday where you're kind of like, that's not what we do there,
How'd
my
old
man.
Glenn look?
He, Duffy was good yesterday.
Oh, that tells me that Glenn wasn't.
Yeah, he's a freshman. But I thought Duffy was pretty good yesterday. He had one bonehead moment where he threw a pick, and he was falling down and out of desperation tried to get rid of the ball, and he's just like, what are you doing there, my man? Just you got to wear that. You got to wear that. But he made several really good throws to the sideline, back shoulder throws that were really nice. He looks better right now. He's playing better.
Well, he might be just because he's being pushed.
Yeah.
Here comes another kid who's not going to wait for you to get it. He'll pass you if you don't.
That's the story of camp. It's the story of the spring. It's the story of what we're watching right now, which is position by position, competition, and a real sense of, and I mean this in a good way, a real sense of desperation for all involved because they understand there's somebody who's just as good as they are that is ready to replace them at any time. Again, Joshua Farmer brought it up after practice. Can I just say this as an aside? I just thought about this. It's a weird thing to notice, but I noticed it.
Oh, God.
That kid has the best teeth of any human being on earth. They're straighter and whiter. I envy the man's teeth. I wish I had his teeth. I said something to Ira yesterday off camera after we got done interviewing Farmer. He walked away, and I like the kid because he's funny and he's interesting, and you can tell he's getting more and more comfortable, and he's a good player. So there's a lot of things to like about him. He's really, really, he praises his teammates really well. He's interesting. He does properly kind of espouse what that group's about, I think. But anyhow, he walked away. I said, hey, man, is it just me, or does that kid have the best teeth you've ever seen? And Ira's eyes lit up because he wanted to say it too, I think. He was like, oh, it's unbelievable. I was like, they're unreal. They're a model's teeth. I want to ask him, are those your real teeth? Come on. You can come clean. You've played football your whole life. Maybe they got knocked out. You had to get some new ones.
If they aren't, so what?
Yeah. Oh, where did you? I mean, sir, those teeth are exceptional.
That'll be a revolution before the, grow your own hair revolution is complete. The new implant thing.
Yeah. It's unreal.
A lot of the golfers have them. A lot of the PGA Tour guys get that done.
Their teeth?
Yeah. Implants.
Well, in their teeth?
Yeah.
So you have perfectly working teeth or just not as straight or white as you want and you yank them?
Yeah.
Well, that's stupid. That's stupid. Why would you do that? That's dumb. I mean, it's not that important.
For millions of dollars.
Yeah,
That's why
you're not getting millions of dollars because you're
Now I could push Air Emirates, Before I was getting Southwest.
Anyhow, Farmer's a good player, has great teeth. Probably walks around very confident with teeth like that. He knows.
Eric suggested they went to Z-Chan. That's a good idea. Maybe that's what Farmer did. Go to old Z-Chan.
There, Dr. Birch, either one. I mean, it's very
That's true. That's
either
true.
one. I mean, hey, wonderful people. Oh, there's a different. One's an orthodontist, one's a dentist. Yeah,
That's right.
It's very different. Yeah. Anyhow, he was funny yesterday because he was talking about this defensive line, and he got asked about the offensive line and some of the younger players, and he referred to you saw the video, right? He referred to Roddick. I mean, the kid from Colorado.
Yeah, Casey Roddick.
Yeah, he referred to him as Colorado.
Oh, really?
Because he couldn't remember his name. It was great. So Ira asks, which of the new offensive linemen have impressed you? And he's like, oh, there are a lot of guys. Colorado's good. Like, good for him. Good for him. He's like, he's sturdy. And the follow-up question was about, are there some of these guys that, you can't move? They're really big. You can't move them. And he's like, I can move anybody. I can move anybody. I was like, there it is. Good.
Also, the name Colorado Roddick
would be awesome.
There you go. Colorado Roddick.
Yeah.
Boom. Good job, Joshua.
That was good. Got great teeth, buddy. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Governor Ron DeSantis directed Tuesday in a memorandum to the Florida Department of Management Services, the Leon County government, and the city of Tallahassee that the state of Florida and United States of America flags to be flown at half-staff from sunrise to sunset today to honor Leon County Circuit Judge Kevin J. Carroll. Carroll died March 15th at age 67. Carroll served as a judge for 12 years and was previously a lawyer for 40. County commissioners are discussing decriminalizing minor possession of marijuana and alternatives to incarceration for possession of small amounts of marijuana. The Leon County Democratic Party is asking county commissioners to lessen the offense for someone found in possession of 20 grams or less of marijuana. Instead of being charged with a misdemeanor or felony and serving a year in prison, law enforcement would have the discretion to give out a civil citation. If the board accepts the proposal, an ordinance will be brought back to the commission at a later date for approval. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3, the local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at macklemoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A blend of clouds and sun this afternoon. Daytime highs approaching 79. Winds out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 55 tonight. Daytime highs approaching 82 tomorrow. Sunny skies and calm. Temperatures above average Friday and Saturday with highs in the low 80s. Chance for scattered thunderstorms Saturday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 74.
We understand how important it is to have transportation you can rely on. So no matter what the road ahead brings, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for over 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at ffbic.com.
This is Rusty Hunt with Florida Farm Bureau Insurance. Please call me today at 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Did you watch? Were you able to? I know you were getting over something and getting rid of the crud and all that, and you're better now. Were you able to watch any of the baseball game last night?
Which?
Oh, sorry, you did watch the baseball classic, World Baseball Classic. Good for you. It was a great game.
Some of each. The killer to me was in the FSU baseball game that you've got their middle reliever on the ropes, the kid who was mowing us down through the middle innings. And it's Nander, and it's the 1-1 pitch, and he squares around to bunt, first and second, and 1 out. And that's the one meatball you're going to get in that at bat because he's overthrowing. He's nearly at 30 pitches.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a situation. I said to Jamie, my wife, I said, "This is it. You're going to get a pitch to hit here. He's hunting for the strike zone because he's overthrown." And we square around and we try a bunt in that situation. The benefit of which would be bringing up somebody in the bottom of the order with second and third and 2 out, which makes not a lick of sense. So. Yeah, I did watch the game. Yeah.
You think it was on his own?
It had to have been. There's no way Link at 1-1. There's no way you call that at 1-1.
Right. Somebody responded a moment ago in the chat, or a while back in the chat. Daniel, go look at Florida's roster. Got 26 different kids over 6'2". 2 whatever. I think we have 11, maybe. They're a significantly bigger team than we are. They're also the kids that aren't Giants. They're all big kids. They're 215, 220. They're big kids. They have 2 6'8" guys.
The thing that was the difference last night, it's another instance in which college baseball umpiring is hot garbage.
Oh, it's
absolutely hot garbage.
It is.
But as much as we got squeezed in a sequence, and Baumeister did, and the pitcher before him did as well, their guys got squeezed multiple occasions and still have the stuff to blow you away and get a strikeout, and they did.
Yeah.
And we don't. Like, we build it to a 2-2 or 1-2.
Yeah.
And if you fool them once and it's over the middle and Doug Kirkland gets squeezed, uh-oh. But if they do and they get squeezed, the kid just gets pissed off and throws 96 right by you. You know, that's the difference of where both programs are at this instant. It'll change, but that's the difference.
Well, don't forget, we lost some good arms. I mean, we lost some good arms, 3 in particular. So, I mean, you're not going to overcome that right away. It is frustrating. I don't panic. I think a lot of this, the consternation that I hear from some is they thought that Link would be a cure-all in year 1. They're playing, I mean, in terms of playing hard and playing relatively smart, they make miscues, they make mistakes. They're not a great defensive club. We know that. But when you look at how hard they play and what they've had to do in terms of mixing and matching kids out of position and all that, I got no problem. They're going to be fine. He'll wring the most out of this team. It's just that the most that you can get out of this team is a trip into the postseason. That's it. Like, just get into the postseason. That's the most you're going to wring out of this team. This is not a special team.
And your record doesn't have to be otherworldly to get in, because this schedule is unbelievably difficult.
Brutal.
I thought prior to last night's game that the weekend series with Pitt and Boston College and a roadie at UCF and playing Gulf Coast, like, you know, you would think that these are the time to get fat, these weekends and these series. And as it turns out, they're all pretty much good teams. Like, that was supposed to be the unranked portion of the schedule. Then you launch from Florida into these other ACC weekends where you're playing Wake Forest and so forth, a bunch of ranked opponents. This schedule, start to finish, is brutal.
Yeah.
Absolutely brutal. And so that's going to help the RPI as long as you're in the low to mid 30s in the win total. You're absolutely getting in with this difficulty.
Yeah, they'll be a better team at season's end, provided they get healthy and guys get to play in their spots they're supposed to play, and they get, you know, a lot of at-bats or a lot of opportunities in those spots. You got guys moving all over the place half the time because people are out, and then you got people playing just completely out of position. I mean, when you watch, Ferreira wasn't there last night in right, he was in left, but when you have him in right, he can't, it's not good.
I've been harping about first base too. You know,
well, I mean, yeah, but you don't have a magic pill over there for first base. Nobody's going to suddenly grow 4 inches over there and help erase some mistakes. But they have some young talent that I'm excited about. And again, I think they'll continue to play better as the season goes on. It may not be reflected in the record. It may not be reflected in the record. And there's no amount of getting better as this season goes on is going to change the fact that there's a dearth of talent by way of expectation for Florida State baseball on this roster. They're not good enough. Your point about those arms, they don't have enough of those arms.
They might be able to farm and develop them by the end of the year, where you have more than you think you do right now.
Yeah, they're trying to develop them now, but they don't have enough swing and miss, enough, missing of the bat. When you know, not that I expect this, but did you see the final pitch Shohei Ohtani threw Trout?
Yeah.
Whew! It is criminal.
It is.
It's almost an honor to be struck out with that pitch. You're like, really? You've got that?
And what's interesting is, I think if he locates the 2-2 fastball, I think Trout probably catches it. Now, I don't know that it's going to go leave the yard and tie the ball game.
There's 100.
It was 102 in the other batter's box. He kind of spiked it a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think it was an intentional waste pitch, but I think Trout at that point geared up. He's like, okay, so this is what I've got to do.
Yeah.
And because it was, in essence, a waste pitch, now you can throw the break and stuff, and he's too ramped up.
Well, that's a wipeout slider. I mean, my God, that thing.
Also, part of his follow-through motion was to let go of his glove and celebrate. It was almost instantaneous. He knew the Trout wasn't going to hit it.
Yeah.
The loss for the U.S., the tough moment is you get the homer by Schwarber, which is outstanding.
Do you see the stat on Schwarber?
all the places he's homered.
Yeah. College World Series. All the different
Dick Howser Stadium.
Oh, of course. Yeah. He hit some bombs at Dick Howser Stadium.
Yeah, in both leagues, division.
Yeah, really
Pennant
cool.
Series,
World Series, ALCS, NLCS, all of it. Yeah.
And that whole at bat, he was locked in. You could argue it's a great at bat. You could also say he had about 5 meatballs. It's about time that you turn one around and squared it. But the crime of that inning, for the U.S.'s perspective, is Trey Turner is blazing fast, and he's on first base after an unbelievable 2-strike hit serving into the outfield. Let the guy steal. First pitch swinging, 2 guys in a row. Are you kidding me?
I thought, and I think you'll agree, I thought the World Baseball Classic, as it played out this year, did more good for the reputation of the event. The sellouts, the quality of play, the enthusiasm that was exhibited, I should say, by all the teams involved, including the U.S. team. Like, it meant something to them to be there, to try to win.
Indisputable.
It was great. It was just great. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Heating and cooling is the job we do. Parker Services. Comfort is to call away.
Invest in a Peak Performance membership and you'll buy peace of mind in knowing that you're extending the life of your system and probably saving money on your power bill too. The program includes comprehensive tune-ups that keep your system running at its maximum efficiency. And Peak Performance members get many benefits, including priority service. Members jump to the front of the line when their comfort system fails. And a 15% discount on all parts. The Peak Performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. Florida license number CMC 050334.
Parker Services. Comfort is to call away. Parker Services. Comfort is to call away.
Florida, one of the lawsuit capitals of the world. There are more billboards in Florida encouraging you to sue than any country on earth. And guess what? It's costing all of us, to the tune of $5,000 a year per family. We are paying more on everything from food to insurance. Stop letting billboard trial lawyers win while consumers and local businesses lose. Urge the Florida Senate to support SB 236, sponsored by the Florida Chamber of Commerce, PAC.
At Pinch A Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas, it's prime time hot tub season. And after a long, stressful day, there's nothing like soaking in a hot tub with all that steam. And it has lots of great health benefits, too. Pinch A Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas is your true hot tub headquarters. Save today on the hot tub of your dreams at prices you can afford. Come and shop our 12,000 square foot showroom and find the right model for you. With over 50 hot tubs in stock, you're sure to find the one that's just right. And for a limited time, take advantage of a free spa cover with purchase of your new hot tub. That's around a $400 value, completely free with your purchase. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch A Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come see us at 2473 Greer Road. Pick out your hot tub and enjoy your free cover. You'll be glad you did.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and line movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
4 games of the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament on Thursday. Michigan State laying 2 against Kansas State at New York City. Tennessee, the 5.5-point favorite over Florida Atlantic. In Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena, it's Arkansas 3.5-point dog against UConn. UCLA laying 2 against Gonzaga. NBA tonight, Atlanta Hawks on the road at the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota, the 4.5-point favorite at Target Center. Kyle Larson plus 650 to win the Echo Park Texas Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas. Scotty Scheffler 8-1 to win the Dell Technologies Match Play in Austin Country Club in Austin, Texas.
Sign up now for your free VSiN subscription at vsin.com/subscribe. For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
It's almost Easter, so I hopped on over to Kohl's to shop their friends and family sale. With the extra 20% off, I was able to get my entire family outfits that are not only perfect for our Easter celebrations, but their looks will wear all spring long and beyond. And that's why I love Kohl's. I can always count on them to have everyday styles and everyday savings. Select styles. Offer ends March 26th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Scott for Scots here. A good track can feed the soul. And while this might be music from the heavens, it's not gonna feed your lawn. If your yard needs some life, then you need Scott's Turf Builder. You just put it down once now, then again this summer to thicken your lawn and get it growing strong. Ooh, that's some lush lawn vibes right there.
Get a bag of Scott's Turf Builder today. It's guaranteed or your money back.
Feed your lawn. Feed it.
Under Governor Ron DeSantis, our economy is booming. Last year, more than 425,000 private sector jobs were created in Florida. Now, our unemployment rate is at near record lows, and Florida's economy is a model for the nation. But greedy billboard trial lawyers still have too much money, power, and influence. Their frivolous lawsuits destroy jobs and cost Floridians over $5,000 a year. It's why Florida has been called a judicial hellhole. Governor DeSantis, Senate President Kathleen Passidomo, and Speaker Paul Renner have a bold plan to end the lawsuit abuse and make Florida's economy even stronger. Let's keep Florida open for business. Let's hold the billboard trial lawyers accountable. Go to AIF.com. Tell your lawmakers to end the billboard trial lawyer greed. Tell them to support SB 236 and HB 837, paid for by the Associated Industries of Florida.
Did you know that when you order food delivery through third parties like Uber Eats and Bite Squad, local restaurants lose up to 30% of their own revenue, and you're actually sending your money to corporate bank accounts in California? Well, now you can truly support our locally owned restaurants by ordering directly from foodiestakeout.com. Choose from delicious options like El Jalisco, Smitty's Tap House, Hangar 38, Jerry's Cafe, and many more. With Foodies Takeout and Delivery, we can actually put our money where our mouth is. Order your next fresh meal today at foodiestakeout.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
At some point, is Florida State going to reveal with the basketball program that they're serious about bringing in some transfer portal people? Because, as they say, time is of the essence. I was looking at it yesterday. This is a brief mention of that program, but, that portal opened up on March the 13th. 500-something players in that portal getting snatched up left and right. I'm looking every day. Big programs, plug-and-play guys. Get this kid, get this kid. What are we doing? They need 5 players minimum, which is going to require him to do something he doesn't want to do. But, man, this is the heavy lifting that is necessary to get this turned around. This is you having to not do the things that, one of the reasons we love you, but now you got to do the things that you don't want to do because that's what it takes. You got to go to kids and say, you don't have to do this, but you could say, you're not any good. You need to go. We're going to revoke your scholarship. You're not good. Go somewhere else. Because you got to make room on the roster to bring kids in. It doesn't appear those kids are volunteering to leave. I'm sure that it has been made abundantly clear to many of them, you're not part of our plans. You just, we love you. Thanks for coming here. It's not your fault we recruited you. But you're not part of our plans. And they're like, oh, that's okay. I like it here. I'm sure you do. You're not going to play. That's cool. See, this is part of the problem. You don't have the what for. You don't even care that you're not going to play. This is my failure. This is my failure revealed to me right across from me at a desk. Come on, man. Sorry, I just was reading some stuff during the break, and I'm just like, come on, man. Can we get moving on this? It can't happen another year, not like that. It was awful.
It could happen.
Well, let's go.
That's why you feel the urgency, because it could happen.
But see, to me, that's nuts. And I'll move on. We'll go to football, whatever. But I
could staple tickets to the corner of intersections on like Monroe. Here you go. Free tickets.
But the problem with that is that, I mean, you don't want to be picking through the scraps. Secondly, it appears that obviously they've retained Leonard. He's coming back. Well, to me, it would be under the auspices of you're gonna hit the portal and gut this roster. The roster, we saw what the roster was. This ain't it. So now you just, if that's, you don't want to go out this way. Gotcha. Fair enough. You're given another opportunity because of all the success you've had and the man that you are, you get another chance. All right, fine. But you're going to have the same season if you don't do these things that make you uncomfortable. So now, like, I hate it, but if you're serious about, how about this? My thought would be that the bare minimum is that he wants to come back because he doesn't want to go out like this. I don't think he's here for the next 5 years. I'm not saying that. Probably 2 at most. But you won't get to if this season happens again. So, like, now you have to just ensure, go get some kids and get to the tournament next year. That's it. Get to the tournament and wave goodbye.
Yeah, I think there are times when coaches are exiting either here in Tallahassee, and maybe they don't know they're exiting, but they're on the way out. And you say, how does that coach not realize ... How do they not see ... Is it age? Is it complacency? Is it arrogance? Is it whatever? In this case, Leonard Hamilton has been on the record multiple times.
Yes, he has. He knows that roster ain't it.
Warchant.com specifically, to the assembled press after a random blowout loss, which there were plenty of this
Lots
year.
to choose from, yeah.
He knows. He knows what he has to do. The question is he going to do it or not? And is he going to do it in a timely fashion and in a way that'll get the job done? But this is not a case where you're saying, how did they not see the forest for the trees? Oh, Leonard Hamilton knows exactly what's wrong. Is he going to do anything about it? Or is he capable of doing anything about it, given the set of circumstances where we are and the time that we're in with NIL and such? We'll see. We'll see.
I'm getting nervous. These days, I mean, this is every day that goes by is another opportunity. If you look at the portal, I saw where already Louisville saw 6 of their dudes ride out, hit the portal because they're a god-awful mess. So it makes sense, right? and they picked up a transfer guard from Illinois. North Carolina had 3 of their players ride out. Well, they were the biggest underachievers in basketball. So the radical shifts are underway. We should be seeing something similar here in Tallahassee, like this week, like maybe tonight. Oh, look at that. 7 dudes are riding out. Good. Don't let the door hit you in the ass.
With a press release, Leonard Hamilton congratulates 7 Seminoles on the next chapter of their journey.
To be played elsewhere.
But that's where the PR, that's where it gets fun to be in Sports Info or PR. It's like, how am I going to title this mass exodus? Leonard Hamilton, FSU basketball, congratulates the following players.
It's a picture of Leonard going, celebrating with his arms as the doors close behind somebody leaving.
Somebody made a graphic for it. It says congratulations underneath it. Congratulations.
That's comical. Florida State falls last night. That's not funny. It stinks. They had a 5-1 lead, but alas, they give up that lead. The bullpen arms not good enough to keep Florida down. That's a really good Florida team. That's the only way to say it. They're very good. Unfortunately for Florida State, the team they play this weekend in ACC competition is also very, very good, maybe even better. So tough stretch, losing a lot of baseball games. They figure to lose some more, and they'll have to obviously get better as this season goes on. They're not going to be a great team, might not even be a good team. They do have to be a team that keeps the streak alive. Ran into an old buddy of mine that has been in the press box for over 20 years, since back when I was doing PA. He's seen a lot of good baseball teams come and go and a few bad ones, but all of them made the postseason. And so Pat and I, hello, Pat, we were talking about it, and he said, man, I'm getting nervous. I said, you're getting nervous? And he goes, man, I don't know. Schedule's brutal. And he was making your point about they could get better, but the schedule is ruthless. Well, they'll be all right. Hang in there, Pat. But 43 years. You don't want your first year to be the year. Can you imagine? That's a toughie. You walk in and you're the guy.
And you're on the precipice of being alone in first place.
I mean, that'll hurt your feelings. Hopefully they go play well against Virginia. Well to me would be well played games, and you get one of them on the road. Football team was back at it yesterday. For all the coverage, go to warchant.com. Watch the videos we shoot to Warchant TV. I thought it was a good day. I thought something was interesting. I didn't bring this up last hour, but I will here. And I don't know. I asked this question. I just throw it out there. I posit it. Some of you have asked this question on Seminole Headlines, so here you go. Do they want to play faster? Mike, after the practice, and again, he's very purposeful with his words. He said, we didn't play with tempo that I wanted today. I want us to play with a lot more tempo. Brought it up more than once. Brought it up on his own accord. And I don't think it's just because he wants to run more plays in practice. I think it's because there's a sense of urgency, obviously, but also I think he knows he's got the depth to play fast. He's got the depth of talent to play fast. They're going to out-talent a lot of teams they face this year. Only really 2 on the schedule that I would say you're not going to out-talent. The rest of them you are. And so I think in those situations, obviously more plays, not less plays, right? We want to push ourselves away from that old snail's pace that Jimbo played with. And maybe he's trying to get them in line with that.
Well, that's the thing. The depth creates the opportunity, and it's not just on offense. It's also the defensive line. If you believe you've got 2 or 3 waves of defensive linemen and you've got 8 defensive backs that you believe that you can trust, maybe you love 4 or 5 of them, but you can trust 8 of them, that begets opportunities to continue to put your defense on the field a lot because your offense is going up and down. It's okay because you're not asking one dude to play 85 snaps. You're asking him to play 50, which is what you would play at a snail's pace. But now more possessions for the more talented offense should equal a wider margin of victory. Like I love the thought process behind it. I guess the question I would ask you, as somebody myself who didn't make practice yesterday, Did you agree with his assessment that they looked like they were coming off of a spring break?
Yeah, I thought there were some kids who looked a little tired. I mean, it's tough. You come off of a break like that, and I know the first thing I thought of when we went out there is we're going to find out who had a good time. Spring break, college. I mean, it's going to happen, right? You're going to have a good time, especially when you're working hard. It's like your grand reward. Okay, I get this respite. I get this one chance. I'm going to go have some fun. Now, hopefully you keep in mind that at the back end of spring break, you need to get hydrated again and have a good time, resting while you are getting set to, because they come back in full pads. So it's not like, hey, you get to ease into it. No, they were hitting yesterday and it was on. And and that's the other thing. There are no breaks. And what I mean by that is, if, like you've said before, last year in practice, if you had, good on good in a situation in the trenches, the next man up wasn't necessarily going to be facing a great player. Could be, but not necessarily. And guys time out these things. I mean, I used to do it too. You look in the line about who you're going to have to go up against. Like, I don't want to deal with him today. He's a monster. Yeah, go ahead, John. Because you realize that Phil is just after him, and you can handle Phil. So you have, you do that. It happens, especially if you're tired. Especially, you can't do it now because that guy's good, so is that guy, and so is that guy, and so is that guy, and so is that guy. Everybody I'm going to face are all good. That's a good problem to have.
Well, and now they can break up the reps too. You and I talked about that on the wrap, where again they were doing. I assume they were outside for most of it, not in the IPF.
They were in the IPF a little bit, but yeah, most of the practice was
so they were breaking it up across the two fields.
Yo,
and
buddy,
concurrent drills,
and it was fun, but it does make it difficult
to track
as a consumer because you're trying to take in everything. You're like, oh wait, he's over there. No, I saw Charlton on a rep that had a really good rep, but he was on the far field from where we were. I was like, damn, I need to be seeing who was that against. And so yeah, it was interesting. By the way, I didn't mention this yesterday or today, and I should. We talk about guys that look good yesterday, and we mentioned some of the freshman safeties, freshman receiver. Kyle Morlock looked really good yesterday. I should mention that Jared Verse had another really good day, and he's a really good player. So we just kind of forget to mention it because it's not a grand mystery. He's going to start. He's really good. So we tend to just not mention his good days because he has a lot of them. But I shouldn't do that because you need to know that he's practicing hard, practicing well, and getting better. He's also the example you see with him. You already know about the speed. He's even stronger, man. He will stand up some of these huge offensive linemen and manipulate them. He's doing that again, and he's gotten even stronger. I think he's just put in the work.
Curious your thoughts on some of the offensive linemen that you saw, because this is your first foray with a Byers or a Roddick or Keandre Jones in full pads. I've seen him once. You've seen him once, week and a half apart. But I was impressed with Byers and his fundamentals, and he doesn't seem to be caught off balance a whole lot. Now, he's being surprised by the quality of competition he's going against. You could see that. But I thought all in all, the three of them looked pretty good the first day that they were in full pads against the good opponents.
Specific to Byers, I put this in my notes yesterday. He gives up the inside too much. And that is probably
as a tackle or a guard.
As a tackle. He gives up his inside. You can't do that as a tackle, and he does do that too often. I think there are a couple guys that got to learn to sink their ass. When you're getting bull rushed and they have horses now. And so it happens to all these guys. Like every now and then you'll see that defensive line choose violence and they go straight with the bull rush. There's no technique. It's just, I'm going to beat your ass because I'm strong. And these guys have to learn how, you got to sit down. You got to sink your ass, as they say. That's what they used to yell at practice. But I mean, you got to, and they're learning that. But it's so good for all of them. Because, again, the quality of the rep you're getting time and again is against a guy that would start anywhere and is a real quality player, and it's just going to make them better and probably make them better faster or else they'll get replaced. I mean, I've been impressed. Another thing to mention here, Tom, we talk about that offensive line and the reps we've seen. You know who's kind of rounding into form and almost looks like a pro is Armella. He's starting to look like, we already knew what he was body type wise. We knew his strength.
But it was kind of doughy, young kid, baby fat last year. It looks like, he looks a lot stronger in that frame.
Yeah, he's comfortable, strong. He's a mean dude. I like that he's got a little what for to him, a lot of what for to him.
A lot.
He's got a lot of what for to him. He ain't having it. He's there to take care of business.
Was that again yesterday? Maybe if somebody's chirping, he doesn't.
He just doesn't put up with it.
Yeah.
He just doesn't put up with it. He's kind of funny, and he's also he's a strong rep after a strong rep. And then you kind of take it for granted. It's going to be that battle will go on into the fall.
He's also meticulous. When there is something that goes wrong in an individual rep or a group period that they're rotating in and out, he'll walk away. Typically in the end zone is where they gather, at least when they're inside. And he'll start doing stuff. It's almost like he's shadow boxing against a defensive lineman. Just the little things about technique. He is very tactical. Like sometimes you think about a big offensive lineman, if he's described as strong and imposing, you don't think of them as tactical.
Right. Yeah. Technicians. Yeah.
Julian cares an awful lot about those little details, and you can spot him often between his turn going through whatever technique he needs to, whatever leverage that he's been taught in order to make sure it doesn't happen again. He doesn't go and pout if he loses a rep. He doesn't go pound his chest if he wins a rep. He's always tinkering in between, which I think is the sign of somebody who is ticketed for the next level.
To your point, though, this is what competition does. And I've seen it more and more. I don't want to besmirch the previous team that went 10-3 or any of the teams that we've watched practice. But I have noticed this. This is something that stands out to me. And that is post-practice attention to detail. So I've seen more than once, and it happened again yesterday. That's why it's on my mind. It's to your point. A lot of guys at the end of a very physical practice, staying after and hitting the sled, doing a lot more reps, technique, leverage, bend, whatever it was they got yelled at for in practice, they're carrying over post-practice, oftentimes together, to work on what it was Alex Atkins told them, what it was Mike Norvell yelled at them for, what it was. Brian Courtney yesterday, he stayed. Listen, he's in the midst of a serious competition. I don't see reps for him with this tight end group. I think they should move him to linebacker. I've made that abundantly clear. But he's a tight end right now, and he's working really hard. And he got yelled at yesterday briefly. And after practice, he was working his butt off on that sled, getting lower and more explosive and doing the things it was blocking that they were frustrated with. Well, you can imagine he's not big enough. So I like that. These kids, I think they sense they have a chance to be really good, and they want to do everything to put themselves in a position to realize their potential.
Well, there was a moment in the first padded practice that it was just kind of cool to see, because this is a signal of a program being built or realized in this case. Like last year, we would marvel at if Dylan Gibbons would pull somebody aside who was, maybe not going to ever be a starter.
Yeah.
And work
He
with
was
them
good about that.
diligently.
Yeah.
He was excellent about that. Devontae Love-Taylor before him was very good about that. Fabian Lovett currently is. Jared Verse currently is. Working with guys. Well, Jermaine Johnson's on campus, and he's working with a couple of defensive ends. I told you that was the story. He's like, he's munching on food. He puts it there. Hang on, man. Okay, so here's what you do. As he's chewing, he goes back to eating. But then there was this period of instruction with the offensive line where they're going through special teams drills. And so now it's about mental reps and technique stuff that Alex Atkins can work on with the offensive linemen, because they're not going to go and do special team stuff. And you see that he's working with the veterans. And then there's Lucas Simmons hovering over his shoulder, watching every single little detail about the instruction the veteran tackles are getting from Atkins. And he's kind of mimicking the movements. He's being a sponge. And you could see from the old to the new, and then off on the sideline, speaking generally, because they have rules about this kind of stuff. But like high school coaches who have come to check things out.
A lot of them there yesterday.
Taking notes. They're like, man, look at this. This is the pinnacle of instruction. You just see it in the eyes of people who are connected to the game, that you've got a coach who they think whatever he says is gospel because of what he's done. You see the veterans. Some of them are transfers. Some of them are 3 or 4 year guys here. And then you see the freshmen. And it's just the machine is
symmetry to it. Yeah.
The machine is working at a level where we used to marvel at it. And now it just looks to be what I'm sure Mike Norvell envisioned from day one.
It's also why he wants to play fast, because they have that ability and that depth, and they have teachers and guys who pull other people aside so they can get up to speed. And so that, let's go. He can afford to do it. because he doesn't feel like they're going to leave people behind because they're going to get the added attention they need, either from a player or a coach or whatever it might be. And also the caliber of player, the caliber of the clay that you're molding, again, is better as well. A lot of questions came in that are interesting ones. I do want to answer some of those. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. We'll do it in a moment.
For many in the workforce, their goal is to climb the company ladder. Often the climb requires a move to another city, and that's especially true in our industry. I'm Jay of Paul's Termite and Pest Control. If you rise the ranks of our competitors, there's a good chance moving up means moving away. Why? Because they're not local companies. They're from places like Orlando, Atlanta, Salt Lake City, and even Europe. That's certainly not the case with our employees. We're a company that was founded in the Big Bend and remains locally owned. When Paul's Termite and Pest Control employees advance, they remain in the Tallahassee area. Don't trust the safety of your family and pets from disease-carrying pests or the structure of your biggest investment from termites to people who may be here today and gone tomorrow. Trust Paul's Termite and Pest Control, a company that has serviced thousands of our neighbors right here for over 50 years. Being local really does matter in our industry because local problems require local solutions. Paul's Termite and Pest Control are the Big Bend's local experts for the elimination of termites or any other pest, and a greener lawn too. Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Car accident? Call Basic Brooks Law Offices, 777-7777.
If you're hearing this right now and you or someone you know is active military, a veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a teacher, turn up the volume and listen to this. My friend Shannon with Legendary Home Loans has a Hometown Hero loan program designed to make a difference to those who make a difference. When it's time to buy a new home, he will waive all lender fees for all Hometown Heroes. That's a $1,600 value right out of the gate. Also, if you decide to use their preferred title company for their closing, you'll be saving another $600. That's $2,200 in discounts right off the top. That's like 20 tanks of gas in your car. And today, more than ever, it's important to save as much money as you can, wherever you can. So if you or someone you know is active military, veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a school teacher and looking to buy a new home, choose Shannon Young, Legendary Home Loans, and ask about their Hometown Heroes program. Call 844-FSU-LOAN or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. That's FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 2270146.
Clean, renewable energy means fresher air, healthier residents, new green jobs, and a stronger, more resilient community. How we get there is up to you. Share your input today to help shape the Tallahassee of tomorrow. Take the Clean Energy Survey at talgov.com.
This is Ken Wondergem, owner of Gem Mazda of Tallahassee, serving North Florida and South Georgia for over 20 years. And I'm happy to announce that things are finally back to normal at Gem Mazda. Our lot is loaded with brand new Mazdas for the first time in 2 years. So if you've been waiting for the price and selection of new cars to return to normal, the wait is over at Gem Mazda, where we've always provided our customers with the highest quality of service and care. You know Mazda's reputation for efficient, dependable, and affordable vehicles, but you simply must experience the luxurious new lineup of 2023 Mazdas in stock now at Gem Mazda of Tallahassee. Get adventurous and connect with nature in a brand new 23 Mazda CX-50 with all-wheel drive. But hurry in while the value of your trade is still high. At Gem Mazda, we take our slogan seriously. No games, no gimmicks, just a gem of a deal. Gem Mazda of Tallahassee, Capitol Circle Northwest, just up from West Tennessee Street, and always open at gemmazda.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
that intro in because I couldn't remember if we edited the beginning of that, but
So
Westerberg came with it.
We didn't, but that's memory from years of board hopping,
Mm.
and it is not marked E for explicit, which is also come on Spotify, I need you to
Yeah.
get it together.
Great song, but yeah, I mean, Westerberg's not having it. And I was like, whoa, it does time remember. Gotta get that down.
That is not a quality win on the road.
Somebody asked, where's Chubba Purdy playing? He's at Nebraska. He has been at Nebraska doing a whole lot of nutting. He did get I think he got one start last year, sucked. So it's continued suckage for him.
Hey, he's rooting on Brock.
But I mean, whatever. I mean, I don't have an ill will against him. It's just.
Oh, okay.
I don't. I mean, he's not significant to discussion. What's your confidence level that Tate is our 2024 starter before spring currently? What's my confidence level? What are we going to do this?
Basically,
1 to 10?
he's saying what was yesterday's terrible day, something to take away your confidence level for next year Tate.
No, yesterday's not. Just what we see from him in general is, though, I mean, he can be good some days and bad some days, and that doesn't exactly inspire confidence. I mean, I loved what happened in that Louisville game. It was cool for him to have that moment and to show that he could do it. It ought to foster an awful lot of strength and confidence and belief in oneself that he made those plays on the road while trailing. This wasn't like I'm hanging on for dear life. I got to go make plays. I've got to go make plays. And I've never made plays, ever, under no circumstance. Not a spring game, nothing. I've always been terrible. And then I get out there on the road, we're trailing, we're reeling, and and the first throw I make is a pick, and it's of the worst order. It's one of the worst picks I've ever thrown, and I've thrown some doozies if I'm Tate Rodemaker. I've thrown some picks that'll make you wonder, how's that even possible? 8th graders don't make that pick. And then after all of that, I come back and not only make plays, I thrive, and I'm one of the reasons we win the game. That's an awesome story. It's an awesome moment. Every bit of that, as harsh as it was, is true. He'd never made plays. He'd been screamed down countless times when he got opportunities. Now, we saw him make plays in practice, but never in a game of any significance. So there we were. And then he did it. And I would think that would lead to a ton of confidence. Almost to the point where when we watch him, you'd go, man, that kid's good. He's going to be good when he gets his chance. But we don't do that, Tom. We don't do that. We go, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be good when he gets his chance. Because when he got into games after Louisville, he wasn't great. He wasn't great. The mop-up opportunities he got, he wasn't great. And I didn't see this surge in belief and confidence from him stemming from that success against Louisville. Might be unfair. The sample size wasn't large.
Yeah, typically the offensive line in front of him in those situations was not good.
All right, well, here's the good news. Because regardless of my lack of belief in, and now I'm not completely devoid of, but regardless of where I stand on that question right now, he's going to get a ton of opportunities this year. Florida State's going to blow out 6 to 7 teams on this schedule. Blow them out. Those games will not be competitive. I can name 6, and just right now, I can think of right now that Florida State will win by 3 touchdowns or more in all likelihood. So that means he's going to get chances. And by the way, when he gets those chances, if the second-team offensive line is in, it's a good offensive line. If the second-team, third-team running back is in, it's a good second-team, third-team running back. It's like a good player. If the third-string tight end is in, it's a good player. So he won't have reasons for not excelling in those opportunities. He should. There won't be game pressure on him. He'll have good players around him to protect him. He'll have good players to throw to. He'll have a running back that can really play. So he should take a jump this year. So whatever hasn't necessarily transpired on the heels of the Louisville game, it should this year. We'll know by season's end because we will have seen enough to know whether or not that guy is somebody you can feel good about when we head off to Ireland.
Well, and I think also it's important to see that he's pushed for the second job. Nobody is restricting A.J. Duffy from competing for the backup quarterback job.
Mm-hmm.
But we would all agree at this point that there still is a gap between 2 and 3. Like Duffy will have to be a hell of a lot more consistent in order to push for the primary backup role of Jordan Travis. But if that happens, it's again another good insurance policy and another incentive for Tate to be pushed forward. Not besmirching Tate's work ethic. I'm just saying it's the nature of the beast. Right now, I don't think he's feeling a whole lot of heat for his current job, the one he has at this moment.
Well, again, Duffy was better yesterday. He had a good day. So maybe we see more of that from him.
Right. 2-3 weeks from now, let's say that Duffy is more good than bad over that period of time. That can only serve to benefit the battle for the second job. And it creates those moments in practice that you wouldn't otherwise have, which is, oh my God, here's my chance 11 on 11. Jordan's sitting today. AJ's been on fire the last week. I better make the most of this.
Yeah. And he should have the confidence because he's done it in a game on the road while we trailed in the second half. I mean, those are big plays.
I mean, dude, that opportunity could come as soon as this Saturday in the scrimmage. I think that might be the place where Coach Norvell is going to pull Jordan back. He said he was going to do it at the outset of camp, but I was thinking about where's the natural landing spot for Jordan not to get the reps. I think it might be more in the scrimmage than it is in a standard practice.
Well, and I would suggest that they'll treat that. I think Keith Jones said it on Front Row Knowles right before we came on, and I agree with him. I was nodding. He said they'll probably treat their starters, in particular quarterback, like the NFL does in preseason.
Right.
You get a series.
Yeah.
And then, I know you can play.
Now let's get to the real evaluation.
Now let's go over here. And then, I mean, as they ramp it up and get later in camp, maybe we'll give you 4 series instead of 1 or 2. But, initially we just need you to go out there and kind of get into a rhythm, run a couple of series, have a seat. And let's go see how these other guys.
Come coach with us.
Yeah.
Tell us what they should be looking for. What do they not see? That's the other great thing is Jordan is now so confident in this offense. And you can see him working with the other quarterbacks from time to time, instructing and just, shooting the breeze about the position. But if Coach Norvell or Coach Tokars wants some feedback, they can say, Jordan, what do you think there? What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
That's the next step for Jordan as well, is to say, can you teach it?
He probably could by now. He's got a real good command of that offense.
And the other thing I'd say, even though Tate's been here for 82 years, lest we forget that last year, nobody knew about Jordan until everybody knew about Jordan in terms of the growth, the steps that were made. Not even in practice. He had flashes in practice, and we talked about those.
Yeah.
But the consistency that he showed in the LSU game, nobody saw that coming.
No, it was awesome. It altered everything about what they could be walking out of that stadium.
All the practice access in the world that we had, nobody saw that.
Because you can't replicate a game.
Right.
P. Simpson, does Darrell Jackson have any deficiencies? I know he's a beast, but there has to be a reason he's on the third team in as many years. I don't think he'll be on the third team. I mean, he, to me, will be a primary starter. He will be a guy that you absolutely look out there in important moments and see playing football for us. I mean, every player has a deficiency. There's no perfect player. I mean, you could do that with any great player of all time, too. But he's as good as anybody we got on the defensive line right now. I'll just say that.
I think his point is, then why wasn't he a superstar at Miami already?
That's fair. That was an unhealthy set of circumstances down at Miami, for starters. I don't think he liked it there, hence the reason he's here.
Also, another thing about transferring a second time, assuming he gets the waiver for immediate eligibility. And now or never. Now or never is one hell of a thing.
It's a money year. Basically, if you're dominant this year, you'll take it to the league. And you got a chance to be because you got help. Miami wasn't deep enough, talented enough along the line. He's going to be working with better players here right now. I mean, you saw the way we ran the ball in Miami.
Yes.
I mean,
yes,
you got a lot of opportunities to watch it.
The whole world did.
Yeah.
They didn't
over
see Miami,
and over again.
They didn't see Miami's offense.
No. They saw their quarterback getting thrown to the ground like a rag doll.
It will be interesting to see in about 2 Wednesdays from now when we're talking about practice, if we have learned about deficiencies, because the defense is always the head of the offense in these camps. That's the other thing. So first of all, this dude is a size and has a strength profile as well that hardly anybody has on the roster.
Yeah.
And that's just a fact. But also, when you combine that with the offense, it takes a little while to get going. It's over the defense. That's what leads to utter domination, where you say this isn't competitive at times.
Yeah, he at times he does make reps difficult for people. I mean, you
Can't evaluate him.
No, you're like, well, the play was over before it started. How has Bless Harris looked, Keith? Good. He's looked good.
You think he finished practice strong yesterday? Because what I saw the first day of pads was he started out great. First 2
he
reps
got
were
worn
against
down. I didn't pay close enough attention yesterday.
football
to the
game
end of
shape
practice that way
from the injury. I think he's forever chasing that, because that was a concern of Alex Atkins before he got hurt. He's like, I'm going to throw him out there a lot because he needs to get in better shape.
Doesn't that stink when that happens? When you get hurt like that, that's the hard part. Colin writes, Josh Farmer said he liked Jones and Roddick. Do you think they both start? Well, this is the good problem to have, Colin. I don't know. I really mean that. I've called this camp the camp of hurt feelings. I think there are a lot of guys who started last year who will not start this year because of the quality of depth and players that have been brought in or developed already on the roster. And that's what the competition will reveal. Now, you're asking my opinion. We have only seen 2 padded practices. I've only seen 1 padded practice, and it was yesterday. That is too soon for me to tell you that I think he's going to start or they are going to start. What I know is they are squarely in the competition and are an upgrade in terms of the depth of talent that we have on this roster on the offensive line. They're going to be competing.
Yeah, they like Keandre Jones more than I thought, personally.
They do.
And that's as far as I'd go to describe that situation. I do too, for the record. Don't get me wrong. It's
He's
just,
huge.
I wondered if he was a floor-raising reserve or somebody that they thought that they could plug and play, considering that you do bring in guys who are very late in their careers in Roddick and Byers, and Keandre has some more time. So I was wondering if he's a longer-term project that you want to work on with that body type, and then these 2 guys from Colorado and UTEP are your plug and play. I think there's a chance all 3 of them could start. All 3 of the transfers could start.
They could. And again, you already have players on your roster that you've been developing that could start that didn't start last year. Estes could start this year. He didn't start last year. He's a candidate to start. He had a good practice yesterday.
Estes, Armella, Bless,
Oh.
Maurice could win the job still at center. It's possible.
I mean, right now, I would think Maurice is probably leading the way at center. So, yeah, I don't know. I have said that I thought there will be upwards of 4 new starters on the offensive line. It's a possibility, anyhow, that it could happen. I'm not saying it will happen, but it could happen. And it wouldn't be something where you sit, yeah, that's unfathomable. No. It's a very real possibility. I'm not saying it will, but that's how good the competition is, where you could have 4 new starters. They have a lot of choices. Alex Atkins said to me in our interview, I've got 12 fighting for 5. That's a lot of bodies, man. That's 12 dudes fighting for 5 starting positions. That's a lot.
And you're not assessing Robert Scott at all this spring. And
He's
look,
not out there, yeah.
it's a brutal thing, but
he could lose his job.
He could.
Absolutely could lose his job. And you wouldn't be stunned by that.
No, last year with Dylan Gibbons out, when he's healthy, he's in. He's your guy. I don't think you can say that for Robert Scott at this point. At least early on, seeing how much quality there is. Does that mean that they're all better than Robert? No, it just means that, dude, when you miss a whole camp,
yeah, it's tough.
Fall camp is going to be critical for you to get back up to speed to remind everybody what you can do.
Zyra wants to know if any of the freshmen have stood out. And at the beginning of the show, now, if you're talking about the offensive line, no, not necessarily. I mean, obviously, we're all very excited when you have a 6'8" prospect with the length that he has. You're going to want to see him play, but no, it's too early. But if you're talking about on the team, yeah, Vandravius Jacobs stands out big time. Quindarius Jones stands out big time. KJ Kirkland stands out to me big time. Now, he had a pick 6 yesterday, but he also got toasted yesterday. He looked like a freshman. He had a moment where you're like, oh, there he is again, just out here making plays. And then the next 2 moments, you're like, ooh, okay. All right, let's slow our roll here.
So you're seeing it with 16, Quindarius a little bit?
Oh, I love him. Yeah, he's a player.
We have consensus.
Yeah, he's a player. I see it with him, too. I like him a lot. He's been good every practice I've been at. I've been at every one but one. So, yeah, I mean, he's looked good.
He's good the other one. Trust me.
Yeah. I like the Jacobs kid a lot, man. That kid is – it's funny because all the attention's on Hakeem Williams, and understandably, because you're a 5-star and you're big and you're all those things, but he's been the less impressive of the 2, in my opinion.
He's also not what you need right now as much as what Jacobs provides.
Right.
Because you have Johnny and you have potentially Darion and yes, Kentron, you got larger bodies. You need somebody who's a little bit more elusive to go along with Wright and Douglas. And Jacobs could be
the kid.
but he might hit a freshman wall. Like
Yeah, we don't know.
that's very possible.
Yeah, and Winston Wright may end up, really turning it on and all that. So we just don't know. Kentron Portier made the best catch of the day yesterday. Long touchdown, one-handed catch. Beautiful throw from A.J. Duffy. Down the right side, pretty good coverage from AZ. And Kentron just made the play. One-handed catch up here, just right side, and took it to the house. And you want to talk about lavished with praise. Ron Dugan sprinted down the field to slap him on the ass. Then Mike Norvell came running over, and Alex Atkins came running over. They want that kid to take the next step. They do. They need. Well,
that tells you what they see.
Well, right, and you know what he is? He's Malik McLean. He's the replacement for Malik.
Now, here's what's interesting. I'm reading way too much into this, I'm sure, but I wonder if the conversation was had about McLean and Kentron, because if Malik left, I have to think in this day and age of college football, there was a conversation about NIL that had to be processed in some way.
Yeah. I that's tough.
They're very similar players, so in that sense, it's like, well,
you would not choose to lose Malik McLean.
I agree. Well, I agree.
Yeah,
but you might choose to lose him at a certain number.
Yeah, at a certain number. Yeah. Sure. I don't know the answer to that question. I know that the evaluations. So let's take a group like I don't know, the Battle's End. Let's take them for example.
Who are they? What do they do?
So nothing. They're not out here helping these kids. They're not doing a thing to get these 4- and 5-star kids to come to camp and show up and visit. They're not doing anything to sustain a roster.
They sound like a bunch of dudes in kilts who just drum things. They walk in parades.
So take a group like Battle's End. They're constantly having to do valuations, right? They're having to look at the roster and say, what do we value? What's the market? We're not out here trying to reset the market for a player. What's this guy worth? And there may be somebody that comes to you, and we now know this is how it works across the board, across the nation, not just here with NIL. When you pay a kid at a position, other kids at that position say, well, wait a minute. That guy's worth that. I've been here 3 years. How come I don't get that?
Where's my cheese, Mickey Mouse?
Right. I want that too. Well, it could very well be, young man, that we've already evaluated what you are, and we thought to pay that guy.
You don't think we've looked at your film?
Yeah, and that leads to hurt feelings. And it's what will lead to people leaving, and that's fine. That's the modern world, is what we've got going right now. I mean, if you're, I hesitate to call out certain guys, but I just feel like if you're a junior here and they went out and brought in a guy at your position who's also a junior, that's a toughie. I mean, that's a toughie. That'll tell you a little something. And not everybody will do well with that. Not everybody. Some kids are going to take it as competition, and they'll elevate their game, and it'll be a I'll show you type mentality, and they'll eventually get what they want. Others will say, I'm out of here. Well, all right. That's the way it works. I do think that it's hard for coaches, though, because, Tom, I will tell you, I mean, there will be times where it gets almost political, because there are a lot of things that go into offering transfers and all that beyond just the physical tools of a player that you have or that you want. There are other factors sometimes that play into this. The locker room culture, obviously, but also if that player is from a certain high school or certain area, there are other kids that you want from that group. Maybe the kids' parents are in some, we see a lot of kids whose dads are coaches in high school. All that stuff can play into it.
I don't think that's any different from before NIL when it came down to position battles that were 50-50. Like who's going to win, make it easy for everybody. Quarterback battle. If it's 50-50 and one guy is beloved in the locker room and looked at as a leader by the locker room, you're going with that guy. Even if it's maybe 53-47 the other way. I would rather that my offensive meeting room is in love and believes in the guy that I choose. It would have to be a significant gap for me to choose the other player. So much so that the locker room sees, well, I mean, this guy is just, what are you going to do? I love quarterback A, but quarterback B is just better. He puts me in a better position to succeed. If it's close, I got to go with the guy that the locker room loves. I think that's something that's always been around.
Well, that has always been around, but I think when you start talking about money and offering up money for transfers, it has a further impact on all these discussions. Because if I pay this kid to come in, Not only am I upsetting the apple cart with the kid that he's being recruited over, now everybody's going to look at that and they all know what others making. They all, so if I'm a player that's been here a while, even if I'm not in that segment group and I hear about this guy getting that kind of money, whoa, what are we doing here? So it's tough. It's tough. You got to balance all that out. We'll come back, wrap it up momentarily. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Thomas County officials demolished an old barn at the site of a new animal shelter coming later this year. That new shelter will lay between the Thomas County Public Works Building and fleet operations off of Joyner Road. Officials say demolishing the old barn Monday morning was a big step toward having that new animal shelter up and running, hopefully by December. There will be several jobs available closer to the shelter being completed, including a shelter manager and animal service officers. Tallahassee Mayor John Daly commented Monday on the city's handling of two controversial incidents regarding TPD officers, saying he supported the steps taken. City Commissioner Jeremy Matlow hosted a conference scrutinizing the municipality's decisions. The remarks come just days before the City Commission is scheduled to vote on the city's collective bargaining agreement with the Tallahassee Police Department. Every 3 years, the city and TPD's union draw up a contract detailing employment terms, including salaries, benefits, and working conditions. The current contract expires this year. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MaclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A blend of clouds and sun this afternoon. Daytime highs approaching 79. Winds out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 55 tonight. Daytime highs approaching 82 tomorrow. Sunny skies and calm. Temperatures above average Friday and Saturday with highs in the low 80s. Chance for scattered thunderstorms Saturday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 77.
Crawfordville Auto and Tire. Crawfordville Auto and Tire. Oh, hey there. I was just singing the praises of Crawfordville Auto and Tire. They do just about everything. Complete engine rebuilds, brakes, shocks, tires, oil change, you name it, they do it. And they offer a 12-month, 12,000-mile warranty on all parts and labor. Most of the time, they can service your car the same day and offer towing to help you get to the shop. Now that's something to sing about. Open weekdays from 7:30 in the morning until 6 at night. Crawfordville Auto Repair and Tires.
Hey everybody, the perfect fireplace makes your house a home. How's your fireplace looking? Not too well? Hearth and Patio can help you with that. Actually, Hearth and Patio can help you with anything fire. Give my friends a call at Hearth and Patio. If you need new fireplace upgrade, fireplace repair, you need custom outdoor kitchen, grills, or an amazing fireplace for your backyard. 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. Or you can visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth Patio Tallahassee. They keep the home fires burning.
My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinking. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Wrap it up, Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Soon, my friend, this segment will be probables. 1 week from tomorrow.
That's right. And we'll be on location for said show. That'll be good.
Believe my man George over at Games for Less should be getting MLB The Show in.
Oh, there you go.
This week? Next week? When does it come out? I don't remember. I should know that.
I would think it's before opening day. It would be kind of a crime if they didn't release the ball game until after the first weekend of Major League Baseball, which you can catch with us next Thursday, March 30th at Corner Pocket Bar and Grill live 1 to 3 p.m.
Boom.
Beer, hot dog, and apple pie specials.
Baseball. Lots of baseball. Won't that be exciting? I love it. Nightly, going to bed, putting on the tube, watching some West Coast baseball. The sadness is that I used to do it with Vin. Oh, Vin, talk to me as I drift off to sleep. I don't even care about the Dodgers. I just listen to him tell story after story, and pretty soon, that's not a knock on Vin. It was just it was bedtime, you know. The sounds of baseball, the ball to emit, and the storytelling of Vin.
You know, you could never replace Vin, but Charlie Steiner is very good for the Dodgers.
He is good. Yeah, he's really, really good. When Charlie was a SportsCenter host and who was funny, very funny, you never thought when he gave it up to go be the Dodgers radio play-by-play man that it was going to work.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Which is the sign of a really versatile broadcaster. Yeah. And when he got laughing.
Oh, he couldn't stop. He was the best.
I laughed.
I laughed hysterically every time.
He had that thing.
Yeah, he kept going back to it. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Be well, everybody. Have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.